Hey there guys! Today I'm going to share with you how I built my chicken coop. We built this during the first lockdown period and completed it within 1 month. Let me show you the features. The reason why we wanted to build this chicken coop was because of number 1, we wanted the eggs, and number 2, we planted some vegetables and so we needed some fertilizers, and we thought that the chicken poo would be ideal for this. And number 3, we want to feed the chickens our organic waste because we do not want to bag it up in plastic bags and send them to the landfills. And number 4, we want the experience of building the chicken coop for ourselves and our children. And don't forget to watch till the end because I would also be sharing our mistakes as well as what we would have done differently if we knew what we now know. So let's get to it.
To begin, we dug out 9 holes, all measuring 4 feet apart except for these 2 holes which measures 2.5 feet apart. This is also the width of our door. Our coop measures 8 feet by 8 feet. Then we erected 9 poles using 2 by 2 by 8 feet for these poles. For those of you who don't know, 2 by 2 by 8 means this: 2 inches by 2 inches by 8 feet. Hardware stores sell their wood in this dimension, and they sell them in 8 feet, 10 feet, and 12 feet. I also found out later that 2 by 2 is not exactly 2 inches by 2 inches, but that's just how you order it when you are at the store. If you want to know more about this, you can click on the link in the description box below. I will also share the costing of the materials later on, so stay tuned for that. Now, back to the chicken coop project. The first row of poles measures 6 feet tall with 1 foot buried underground. The second row measures 5.5 feet tall, and the last row measures 5 feet tall. You would see that there is a gradient in height, and this is to allow water to run off to the back when it rains. We then joined the poles with a 1 by 2, measuring 10 feet long. We laid it this way first, and then horizontally, so that the roof can be installed without issue later on. For the sides, you would want to use a 1 by 2. We used leftover wood from previous project, so we joined the wood this way. It is not pretty, but it still works. Next, we built the raised platform. This is also where the nesting boxes would sit. We laid 3 4-feet long planks horizontally across this way. Then, we used some leftover bamboos from previous projects and laid it across the planks. We left gaps between the bamboo to allow water or soil to run off the surface, and this will keep the platform dry. Next, we built the chicken nesting box. To do that, we used a frame, which was actually a shelf from our previous home. It measures 1.5 feet wide and 4 feet long and was made of pine wood harvested from wood pallets. I placed it 1.5 feet away from the edge of the platform. I added a 1 by 2 wood here so that we can rest the plywood sheet on top this way. And then I added plywood sheets to the bottom and to the sides to form a box. Next, I added 2 more plywood sheets in between to make partitions. This way, we get 3 nesting boxes. Next, I made the nesting box door. We used leftover pine wood again from past projects, and I just joined the wood pieces by nailing these 2 pieces of wood across. I also added another piece of wood perpendicular to the edge that serves as a handle and cover, as there were gaps between the door and the nesting box. I attached the door to the box by installing these 2 hinges. I used an L bracket as a lock for the nesting door by installing it this way. And here's how it looks like when it's done. We also built a small ladder for the chicken to walk up to the raised platform. We used 2 pieces of planks and joined them with an old bamboo chopping board that has broken apart. The bamboo pieces function as steps. Next, we installed the roof. I used 6 pieces of second-hand roof which measures 2 feet by 12 feet. The roof needs to be overlapped on the long sides when installed. I nailed the roofing nails on the rib instead of the flat. Some people call it crescent trough. The logic for this is so that when it rains, the water that runs on the trough will not enter the holes made by the roofing nails. After nailing the nails, I discovered leakage, so I patched up the holes by cutting out circles from old banners and sticking them down on top of the nails with shoe glue. The leaking then stopped. Next, I installed the chicken wire mesh. At first, we used the mesh with 2 inches wide holes, but we changed to half-inch wide holes, and I'll tell you why later. I used a staple gun to put the net in place before securing them with 1-inch nails on the wood. At the base of the coop, we folded the net outwards and weighed them down with bricks. Finally, we built the door, which measures 2.5 feet by 6 feet. It is just a rectangle frame with the wood across in the middle. I added wood at the corners to reinforce the door. Then I put netting over and secured it with a staple gun. That's it, we are done. Now please stop watching the video if you are already an expert in building, because what I'm going to share next is some forehead slapping mistakes we made and also the things we learned along the way. Number 1. We joined 3 pieces of wood to make these sides. If I could redo it, I would probably invest in 2 whole and new pieces of 1x2 to prevent further challenges when making the raised platform. Number 2. We installed the wood horizontally first instead of the front to the back. This posed a problem when installing the roof, as the nail did not have any material underneath to absorb the impact, making it difficult to nail in the roof. We then have to add in another wood underneath, so that's extra wood and extra costs. Number 3. When purchasing wood, we didn't know that there were 2 types of wood, softwood and hardwood. The hardwood requires drilling before nailing. We didn't know that, and we wasted some wood when they split as we tried to hammer the nails in. We wasted some nails also as they bent. Number 4. Hardwood would be excellent for the poles. As for the door, we were glad we did get some softwood in the order. So, take note of this when you buy wood. Number 5. Staple gun is good for stapling softwood, but not the hardwood. We had to use 1.5-inch nails to secure the nets. That's why securing the net on the door was fairly easy with a staple gun. Number 6. The nails that we used in this project are 2.5 inches, 1.5 inch, and roof nails. Number 7. We used about 34 feet of chicken mesh wire with 2-inch hole for our coop at first. But we had an unwelcome guest creeping into the coop one day, a monitor lizard which is very common in our area and is known to prey on chickens. Thank God none of the chickens were eaten, and since then we decided to install the 1/2 inch wide chicken mesh wire. Here are the costs of the materials for your reference. I saved a lot from using extra wood from past projects, self-harvested bamboo, and also having someone donated used zinc roof for my project.
We built this chicken coop during the first lockdown period, which happened between March and August 2020. And I'm very glad we started this project because right now we are into our second lockdown, and the eggs has in some ways helped us to sustain our protein source. I hope you are inspired by this video to build your own chicken coop, and it helped you to become one step closer to being self-sufficient. Would you like to see our chickens? And would you like to know what is involved in rearing chickens? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.